David Ghantt was an ordinary man living a modest, uneventful life. On the surface, his days seemed ordinary, almost mundane, but his hands were never far from piles of cash. Every day he handled millions of dollars, yet his own pockets remained nearly empty. David worked as the supervisor of an armored car for Loomis Fargo, a prestigious security company tasked with transferring enormous sums of money between banks. Despite the wealth that passed through his hands, his own paycheck barely reached $8 per hour. For years, David clung to his principles, wrapping himself in the heavy cloak of honesty, working tirelessly to support his family. Yet the question loomed: how long could a man like this maintain a life of integrity when surrounded by temptation? The grind was exhausting. David spent 75-80 hours a week managing armored cars, loading and unloading bundles of cash, all while keeping a watchful eye on employees and ensuring the money reached its destinations safely. The constant pressure, combined with family responsibilities and the monotony of a low-paying job, gnawed at him day by day, leaving him restless, frustrated, and quietly desperate. It was during this period of growing frustration that a dangerous idea began to creep into David's mind. The seed was planted in small, almost imperceptible ways. A fleeting thought here, a hint of resentment there. Then came Kelly Campbell, a bright, bold, and mysterious woman who also worked at Loomis Fargo. Over time, she became more than a colleague. She became a friend, someone David trusted. Even after she left the company, their connection endured. One fateful day, Kelly introduced David to Steve Chambers, a small, time criminal with big dreams and an even bigger appetite for risk. Steve was always looking for a shortcut to wealth, a way to bypass the slow grind of life. When he learned that David was the supervisor of an armored car filled with cash, a wild and audacious idea formed in his mind: rob the company. But to make the plan work, Steve needed David. He played on David's frustrations, Kelly's support, and the growing sense of disillusionment in David's life. Slowly, carefully, he nudged David toward a choice that would forever change his life. The pieces were falling into place for a crime that would stun the nation. The plan was deceptively simple, yet audacious. On the night of October 4, 1997, David would finish his shift, disable the security cameras, and remove the tapes containing all recording. He would then fill the armored van with cash and escape. The arrangement was that David would take €100,000 to Mexico, while the remainder of the loot would remain with Steve until it could later be distributed evenly. Yet, even the most meticulous plans carry risks. David, blinded by greed and frustration, never considered the possibility of betrayal. Still, the temptation was too strong. The night arrived. David sent the trainee staff home, leaving him alone with the vault. He disabled 2 of the security cameras, but overlooked a third, hidden in a corner, which silently recorded every move he made. Hours passed as David loaded the van with cash, mostly $20 bills. By the time he was finished, he had moved over $17 million. He had successfully carried out one of the largest thefts in American history, and yet he had no idea that his actions had been fully documented. The next morning, chaos erupted. The employees arrived to discover the vault keys missing and the vault empty. David was immediately the prime suspect. Security footage showed him dancing with joy after loading the cash, moment of elation that now sealed his fate. Messages he had sent during the heist revealed he was not acting alone. The FBI quickly launched an investigation, tracing David and his accomplices. Meanwhile, Steve and his wife, Michelle, indulged in their newfound wealth, purchasing a lavish home, luxury cars, and other extravagant items. But investigators were meticulous. Bank records revealed suspicious deposits of $20 bills, confirming their suspicions that stolen money was being funneled through the couple's accounts. The tension reached a breaking point. After days of surveillance and phone taps, the FBI discovered that Steve was planning to betray David, eliminating him to claim the entire fortune. The stakes had become deadly, and David's choices had put him on a razor's edge between freedom and ruin. Finally, on March 1, 1998, the FBI arrested David in Mexico. The following day, Steve, Michelle, and Kelly were apprehended in Charlotte, North Carolina. Of the total stolen funds, 88% were recovered, while Steve had squandered much of the remainder on luxury purchases. Steve received an 11-year sentence, David served 7, and he was held responsible for the remaining $3 million, which he had never spent. David's story did not end in infamy. After serving his sentence, he returned to a quiet life in Jacksonville, Florida, living with his wife and children and working as a construction laborer to make ends meet. He maintains a social media presence, sharing his story to warn others of the seductive power of greed and the consequences of choices made in desperation. This remarkable tale is a reminder that even the most ordinary people can be drawn into extraordinary circumstances. It's a story of temptation, thrill, betrayal, and the harsh reality that every choice, no matter how small, carries consequences. David Ghantt's life is proof that sometimes the line between an ordinary man and a criminal mastermind is just a single decision away.